You got a pre-approval credit card in the mail for $10,000. You get a pre-approval credit card in the mail for $10,000. Well, until you actually swipe the card, it's just sitting there as an open account. Okay, when the job is complete and you say yes, it's done, that's basically you guys swiping the card and making that charge, and then it'll show up on your next billing statement, which will be at that point 30 to 45 days after the completion of the job. Okay, if we go into some of these different programs where it's 6 months after the completion of the job, that's how the same thing works. It's like when the job is done, you're actually swiping the card, and then that's activating the purchase, and then from there, you know, your 6 month period is activated. Okay, these top plans right here are your deferred interest with scheduled monthly payments. So what that means is for these 8 months or 6 months or 12 months or whatever, interest is going to start occurring from day one of the sale. Okay, the transaction, when the job is completed, it's swiped. So it goes back to that day is when interest starts occurring. But what it is in that period of time, that 12 months, for instance, okay, if you pay off your loan in that, there won't be any interest that'll be charged to you. Okay, so that's where the interest is pushed back that whole year. If it's paid off in that, you don't have to worry about any of the interest. You're just basically paying the same as cash. Okay. If it goes beyond that year, you go into a year and 2 days. Now all of that interest you'll show will get tacked on from the day one, okay, and then your payments and stuff will regain from there. All right, so the only part that's interest free is if it's paid off in that promotional period. All right, it has to be paid off in full during that promotional period. So if it's a $10,000 job, and they pay off $5,000 of that, and in that 1 year or whatever, and they don't have the full amount paid off, they're going to get slapped with all of the interest from day one for the full $10,000, not the remaining balance of $5,000. Okay, that's what these loans are talking about. I do have different loans where we can put it in, and it's just whatever's left over. But in this circumstance, these loans that are up top, that's how that program works. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now it says with a minimum monthly payment. All right, that's where we kind of talked about this. These are the programs. The 1018 is the one we're putting down at the bottom of our price sheet.
Gotcha.
Okay, the 18 months deferred interest, or no interest for 18 months. That's that plan right there. All right. I have you double the payment of the other one, right? Just to kind of figure it out. It gets you pretty damn close to it. If you pay that minimum monthly payment, though, for the course of that 18 months, you're only going to pay off about half of your balance. All right, so you're going to be left with that bulk payment due at the end of the 18 months. And remember, if it's not paid off at the end of the 18 months, you're getting slapped with all of the interest on the total bill, not just what's left over, all the way back to 18 months earlier. And that's at like 27% interest. So they're getting fucking whacked at that point. So make sure
the interest rate on here, does it?
No. Make sure your customer, actually I think they dropped it down to 19%.
Are they all the same? All these four?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think it's 19%, he told me the other day. But they're getting nailed from day one.
Gotcha.
Okay, and it's on the total balance, not what's left over. Okay, so you want to scare the shit out of them a little bit on it. Yeah, we have it. And you know, explain it to them. It's kind of like the art band. It goes back to day one. And once you mention art band, they know, okay, I kind of got an idea of what you're fucking talking about. They can all link up to it. But, you know, explain to them. Now, it's a great program because it's completely interest-free if it's paid off in full in that 18 months. So you can use this year's tax returns. You can use next year's tax returns to pay it all off. But it still requires you to have a small monthly payment. Every month they want you to contribute to it. Okay? So if you know you're going to get next year's tax returns, or you're getting married and you're going to have a bunch of money coming in from the wedding, or you got your bonus at the end of the year, or whatever the situation is, it's a great plan for you as long as it's paid off. But if there's any chance that it's not going to be paid off in that 18 months, don't go this plan. Because it's going to cost you a fucking fortune. Go with my standard low monthly payment with the 9.99% interest. And then you can always pay more than it to pay it off early. Okay, because there's no prepayment penalty on any of these if you pay it off early. All right? But it's not obligating you to that high payment, and you're not putting yourself at risk. If you didn't make it in that 18 months, you're going to get nailed. Okay? So make sure you're talking about that. On the right-hand side of those plans, you'll see what they call the dealer fee. All right? That's what you got to pay attention to. That's the clip, the fee we have to pay the bank to offer these different programs. Okay? A bank is in business to make money, right? If they're offering their customers loans at 0% interest, how are they making money?
Initial cost,
What initial cost?
like what we charge, so they take money from us to pay them, so they make something off of it.
Okay, that's what these are doing. Okay? But if you went to your credit union or whatever and you wanted to pull out a home improvement loan, they would not give you a 0% interest in a home improvement loan because there's no middleman. It's just you and the bank, right? So they have to make their money somehow. We're the third party that's involved in it. So if there's a $10,000 job and they're gonna give us a 10% clip, okay, to give them interest free, basically what that means is, okay, I'm gonna loan you the money, 10 grand. So you're taking out a loan for 10 grand, but I'm gonna pay you 9 grand to do the work. They're making that $1,000 by offering that program to the customer.
Gotcha.
You win, you're getting it interest free. I win as the company because I'm able to offer you a program or whatever the case is, and the bank wins, they make $1,000 off of you. The way your commissions and stuff will be written up is if you sold the job at 9 grand, not 10, because that's what we're getting funded for the job. So that's where we pay our bills and stuff. So you got to recognize what the customer wants, what their needs are, and everything else before you start dropping your price. Because their only objection is, hey man, I want 0% interest. Give me 0% interest for a year. That's the only thing. You can do that, we're writing it up. Well, that's a 5% or whatever the clip is on it. You gotta make sure you still got money in there, right? Don't drop it down to 20% below par and then find out, okay, sounds good, man, just give me that 18 months interest free that I see advertised. And you're like, motherfucker, I got no more money in the job now, because I took it down. That's something you need to figure out when they first object. You know, you plan on going cash, you plan on financing it, you already have your payments and stuff on it, but start that conversation talking about the payment or the interest rate, and you can find out if they need a special plan. I've had people say, well, look, man, I can't do anything. You know, my daughter's getting married in November, so all of our money is spread out on that after the wedding and stuff, and that all calms down. You know, she's paying me back for everything, but I had the float of the money coming up. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Come November, what do you think the chances are after the wedding you're going to end up hiring me to do the work? 50-50, 60-40. Oh, 90%, man. Or 100%. I just got to get this wedding out of the way. Okay, so if we were sitting here in November having this conversation right now, we'd be putting this on the schedule? Yeah. Okay, great. Well, let me ask you a question. You're probably like most people, rather get the project done sooner rather than later, but pay for it later rather than sooner, right? Well, yeah, of course. You know, your roof is leaking. So if I can do the work now, get the job done, lock in these low prices before everything goes up, and then come November, December, even January, in January, you're going to be in a financial spot where we'll be able to take care of us, right? So if I can do the work now and then you can pay for it in January after the wedding comes down, your daughter's paid you back and everything else, are we putting this on the schedule? I need to know that up front, and then I can come in here and do one of these plans, okay? And make sure before I start dropping prices, if that's the guy's only objection, let's run with it, okay? But usually you'll get into that and, you know, the whole 60-40 or 50-50, 60-40, the guy will be like 90%. Well, other than price, what would stop you from hiring me at that time? Well, nothing. So the 10% chance that you would not hire me at that time would be the company or the product, but that 10% chance would be the dollars. That making sense, right? So his objection still is price at this point, unless he tells you 100%. And we'll get into that close later. But what I'm getting at is when you get an objection up front, you got to find out, is it cash, is it finance, and then what kind of plan are they going to have? You know, you can still try to steer them into your basic program and everything else, but you just got to be careful of those clips. All right. The next section, 0 interest, no monthly payments. So you got 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Basically, it's same as cash. So from the day of install, that would activate that period. They don't have to make a single payment during that time frame. So they can go 18 months with no payment, no interest. If they pay it off before that 18 months expires, they're not paying a dime of interest. Okay, if they let it go beyond that 18 months, then they would have a normal monthly payment coming off of that. I think it's like a 15.99% interest. It's not crazy, but the idea behind it is you want to take advantage of that, 18 months where you're not making a payment or anything. Okay, you could use tax returns. Now on this type of loan, the same as cash, whatever you've already paid into it, you're not going to have to worry about interest beyond. So if it's a $10,000 job and you paid $5,000 in that 18 months, okay, you're only going to be interest and the payment's only going to be on the remaining 5. Okay, so it's same as cash for whatever you paid up to that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you got your 0 interest with equal monthly payments. So basically, any of those time frames, you're just going to take the total of the job. It's $10,000, and you're going to divide it by 60 months. Those are equal payments. And if you're doing the total of the job, equal payments, there's no interest that's on that total of the job that you're dividing in. Okay? So they'd have to make that monthly payment every now. If they're late on a payment, they're fucked. I mean, that's how these loans and the credit cards and stuff work. It's 0 interest, but if you end up, defaulting on your loan and making a late payment or missing a payment, then these terms and conditions, that's where they get, nailed from it. So, and people understand that too. You don't need to get into all that detail, but All right, so you got your 25, your 2 years to as far as 60 months out, 5 years. But look at the 5 years, we're getting hit 15% almost. That's why you see like Wallside right now, they're advertising on TV. We'll give you 5 years, no payments, no interest, or 15% off it. They have that 15% already jacked into their price, right? And then they can give a cash discount with the 15%. So some companies do it that way, we don't. We're not inflating the price and then having that come down, because you can see we can offer programs where the clip is very minimal. But go into it, you might find out when you're warming up with the customer. It's just bullshit. How'd you hear about us? Oh, I saw you in the Save On. Oh, just curious, man, because we have these Save On magazines. Oh, what was it about our ad that kind of attracted you? Oh, the 0 month or 0 payment, 0 interest for fucking 5 years. Know that up front. Now I know that's what's getting, that's what got on the fucking call. So I'm going to put that plan in there and make sure I got some extra, I'll spruce it up a little bit and then start my normal discount and shit from there. So be observant on it, ask that question and find out, because that's a lot of times what it is. It's our financing option. We had one lady the other day who, after she bought from us, she saw one of our ads or something with the financing.
Oh, yeah, that
basically
lady.
complaining that she wasn't offered that plan. So just ask them the questions. What have you seen out there or whatever? These are a couple of our plans, but if you guys notice, we got a shit ton of plans out there. Whatever the customer wants or is looking for, we have something we can put them into that's going to satisfy their needs.
The equal monthly payments is probably never used, right?
No, it's used all the time.
Because the clip is like minimum 9%.
What's that? Yeah. Oh, you mean, people
Yeah,
will
we
use it.
rarely.
The customers want it stuff, but yeah, we try to talk them out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we're getting hit with a big
Yeah,
clip.
'cause like even if you're at par, you ain't even making it.
The thing is, guys, what we want to avoid. Well, I'm going to my credit union. I'll go get my own loan. Okay, fuck that.
Why?
Because then I can't sign it today.
Okay.
That's an objection. I got to go see if my bank will approve it.
What if I get a deposit?
What's that?
What if I get a contract and a deposit?
Okay. And whatever they want to do for the balance, that's fine. I got the contract
Okay.
and I got the deposit.
But don't,
But
yes.
they'll give you that objection. Well, everything looks good, I'm not going to use your financing. I'm going to go to my bank and get my own loan.
I've had that happen once.
Okay, now you're fucked. They're not going to sign with you today until they get their money from the bank and they know that they're approved now. So that's why we'll put, hey, this is just a pre-approval. Let's get you pre-approved. All right, then you can, then we know you're good for the money, everything else, and then you can go to your credit union and shop my rate. If you can get better than it, like I said, when the job is done, you can either sign our completion slip, which will activate this loan, or you can hand me a check for the full amount. If you got a better term from your credit union, and when the job is done, just say, here you go, I'm not going to use your loan, I got my own.
More power to you.
I like it because you can get this pre-approval and we're not, you can go search with this, have contracts, say beat this, right? So like I'm part of Navy Federal, I always get my pre-approval from the company because it's easier to get a loan that way, and then I present it, and I'm not getting hit hard 3 or 4 times trying to get my better rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, that makes sense.
Yep. And but too, when you're going into your credit union and stuff like that, if you have a loan set up through like Service Finance, for instance, for your siding project, when they pull your credit, they see that inquiry on there and they know, okay, what it's about. It's legit. You're using this money to fix up your house. They're more apt to give you the loan at that point, because you already have a contract in place. Mm-hmm. It's not just you going, yeah, I'm getting a home improvement loan, and really realistically, you're going to go buy a couple big screen TVs with it. Mm-hmm. You have a contract in hand, so they do look at it a little bit differently. But yeah, don't let them, you're going to have that customer, I'm cash. Okay, don't even bother with the financing. They're going to tell you all day long. Well, in their mind, they feel like they're going to get a better deal if they're giving you cash.
Right.
They don't have fucking $20,000 sitting in their bank account.
They got 5.
How many people actually do? Right? So at that point, they're thinking cash. They're going to go to the credit union, get their own money, and then they're going to pay you cash and they want a discount for it. Now, we get our money from, and they don't know that we have dealer clips and shit. So when the way I explain that, cash or if you're using our finance, it makes no difference to me. Okay, and the reason I say that is because we get paid the same from the bank. It doesn't matter, even though we do get clipped on some of these plans. So let's get you pre-approved. All right, let's get this thing done. All right, you don't get a special cash discount because in their mind, they're going to get their cash. They're going to pull it from their 401k and give me cash. But again, they think they're going to get a better deal with the cash, and it really isn't. It's not like we're talking dead presidents here and I'm going to put it under the table and shit, and not fucking put it through the books and all that stuff. We ain't that cash. We're talking, when they're saying cash, they're talking credit card or check or something like that. So, all right. So we got to be careful on that. We can't use that as an objection. And the thing is, well, I can get a lot. What's your rate there? 9.99%? Well, I can get much better from my credit union. Okay, you're gonna hear that or whatever, they're gonna give you a much better rate. Now, we do have different terms, you know, as you look down at your reduced interest loans down there, where I can get them down to fucking 2.99% if I needed to. But I take a 21% clip. Okay? When they're telling you that they can go to their credit union or whatever and get a better rate, they're giving you an objection. It's a price objection, it's just in the form of their interest rate. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay, they're sitting there, and it's something built in because they think you can't overcome it. That's one of their program responses. Well, I can get a better rate and everything else. They just don't want to tell you, no, I don't want to fucking buy right now.
Every time they say what's your rate, I said it's all dependent on your credit, man.
But it doesn't.
I know.
Exactly.
Okay,
But they think that. They're, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I'm like, first it depends on how much you put down, and then what your credit score. It's anywhere you go to get a loan, like a car, you know, same thing. And okay.
well, you got to be careful with that because sometimes they might be hesitant to then run their credit because they have no clue what your interest rate is.
Oh, I tell them.
And then they'll say, well, I'm just going to go to my credit union, and then they're going to give me the best rate.
So
I don't want to run my credit through you and not know, and then you come back with like 13% interest. And, you know, now I have a pool on my credit. I'd rather just not have that inquiry and just go with my credit.
You wouldn't just straight up be like, we have multiple different interest rates, multiple different plans, it depends on the term.
The loan right here that we're quoting you on this monthly payment is 9.99%. I can get you down to as low as 0.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're looking at. You know, and when I explain it to them, I say, this is a low monthly payment option, okay, with 0 down, nothing coming out of your pocket up front. And then if you're one of those people who don't like to pay interest, I got 18 months interest free as well. Kind of throw it out to them. You know, I'm at it because sometimes they're like, well, I don't want you to run it because you're not telling me what your interest rate is. I'm simply applying for this loan and things, so I want a little bit more information from it. So you gotta just be careful.
So the
with
one at the bottom of our 4 box, the 18 months, that's the 2018 plan?
No, that's your 4132. That's down at the bottom.
No, the 18 month one. The one where it's 0 down,
Oh, the 18 months is gonna be 1018.
or not the 0 down, my bad, I forgot, what is it, it's 0 interest.
Yeah, 18 months no interest is gonna be your
He's
1018.
talking about 2012. Or 2018.
That's what I thought, he said no.
No, it's 1018, not the 2018. It's
Okay.
the
Oh, I see the deferred, okay, okay.
Yeah, a lot less of a clip.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're getting into that in the customer, well, I can get a better rate than in my credit union. I always joke, you're gonna get better than 0%. And that's, you know, and just kind of joke around about them, and you know, now you just took that eliminated that from them. Also, times two, you know, it's a price objection, just like anything else. If I'm at 99 or 9.99%, what do you think you can get the loan for at your credit union for? What kind of interest rate are you looking at?
I don't know.
Well, no, I heard, you know, I could probably get it for like 3.99%.
Yeah.
They'll give you something, you know, but it's a lot easier to get this number, the percentage out of them, than it is with anything else. So basically what you're telling me is I'm at 9.99 or 9.99%, I'm at 10%, and you were thinking you can get it at 4. Okay, and that's what your holdup is, that's why you wanna go to your credit union to get this done. So let me ask you a question, if I can give you this loan here, if I can reach into my pocket and offer you that same loan at 4%, we're putting this on the schedule, I mean, that's ultimately what's keeping you up. Okay, I might be able to put them into a program for it, or I can break it down, if it's $10,000, okay, how much interest over the course of the loan would they be paying at 10%? Figure it out, let's just say 1,000, right? Okay, $10,000, if you get it for 4%, how much interest are you paying there?
$400.
$400. So basically, the reason you want to go to your credit union is because you don't want to spend that extra $600 to take out my loan, correct?
So you discounted $600.
Bingo. It's less money to discount $600 than give them a plan for 15%.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So find out what's going on. So the $600, now watch what I'm going to do. So the $600 is what's ultimately keeping us covered. Correct? Because you don't want to pay that in interest. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Make a phone call, whatever. Dave, is there any way we can eat the interest? So now I'm at $9,400. I'm writing the job. I'm going to pay your interest up front, give you the loan. So at the end of the loan, yeah, this $9,400 at the 10% is still going to equal the $10,000, which we agreed upon.
Do we do rebate checks?
Rebate checks.
Like if someone's like, yeah, I saw this deal, they give me like $300 cash at the very end of the job. We don't do that?
No, I think that's illegal.
Really?
I do. Not positive on it, but yeah, I don't think you can give back cash. You can do it with a gift card.
Glass companies to do it, that's what I asked.
Yeah, I don't, we don't. But I don't know if it is legal or not, I'm not sure.
We would give them a check for however months we would defer the payments, and that was how we deferred payments.
Oh, yeah, no, because I talked about something like that before where we were advertising, or we were going to advertise that, like, if you lose your job or something like that, that we would take on the first 6 months of payments or something like that. It was like our Hyundai assurance plan. Remember when they had that, when
Yeah.
everybody was losing, come lease a car today, and but everybody was so freaked out that the economy was so shitty that they might go in tomorrow and lose their job, so they didn't, they were like, no, fucking, the people they told everybody that you could you could lose your job, and so everybody was freaking out, when it only affected like 5% of the people. So they wanted to take that thought process out, hey, let's rest assured, if you did lose your job, we'll pay your first 6 months or a year worth of your payments, or we'll take over your payments for you. And then all of a sudden their sales fucking skyrocketed again because, it just got rid of that fear when, again, it wasn't going to affect most people. They didn't really have to pay it out, but people were so scared about, to even risk it. So, and so we talked about doing something like that from our business, and we offered a similar program, but it's something where we can't legally like make those payments for them or give them a check. Like if it was a $10,000 job or something like that, and because we ran into it where we didn't end up doing the gutter job, okay, but we got funded on the financing for the 10 grand, and we took the gutter guards off of the job, and it was like a credit of $500 for us to fucking call the bank up, have them refund all the money, and come back, and then us rerun the credit, do all that shit. We're just like, here's a check for $500, and the difference.
Yeah,
That is, from my understanding, illegal too. So you have to credit it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen and shit like that, and the customer would rather have that. They're not going and telling anybody about it. However, I think technically it would be illegal. So, but now when I get this down, so I'm paying the interest up front, we're gonna write up the contract for 10 or 9,400. At the end of your loan, you're still paying the same 10 grand, but I'm coming through, now you're getting the job for 9,400. Now, that's a pre-approval. Now, remember what we said earlier. Up until the completion of the job, you can still shop it. Go to your credit union now, get it at the 4%, get your loan, and now you're getting your loan at the 4% at your 9,400, and you double dip. So pay their interest up front, they can still shop it and beat your 10%, beat it down to the 4%, and now you got the best of both worlds. You got I paid your interest up front, and then you're still getting the same interest that you really wanted to begin with.
So technically, for a roof, they'd have a whole month to shop.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mhm.
That's a seller.
Yeah. Or even after the job, there's no prepayment penalty, so you can take a payment, go 3 or 4 months, and then go to your credit union and pay it off. So technically you'd have more, but your first payment, you'd have a month before our first payment would be.
Yeah, you could have the loan moved around.
Right. You might take that loan out for 6 months. That's what some people do. I'll push them into financing. The guy that says, well, I'm going to my credit union, I'm going to get an equity loan and do all of that shit. That's an objection you can't overcome, right? Well, I'm going to wrap it all into my mortgage. So I want to do that. That's great. Well, that's why I don't want to use your financing. Let me ask you a question. When you're talking about mortgages and a refi, you have to get a house appraised, right? You think your house is going to appraise for more before the work is done or after the work is done?
Obviously, after.
After the work is done. So get pre-approved with me today. Let's get the work done. You might, when the job is done then, have a month or two where you're taking out payments, and that time, the job is done, your house is going to appraise for more, then refi it, pay a couple $100 a month till your refi is done, and now you're going to get approved for more at probably a better interest rate because you have more equity in the house. And when you're going through your refi, the whole reason of your refi is to, obviously absorb some of your other financial obligations with your home improvement loans. That's the whole point of me refiing, that's what they're telling the bank. The whole point of me refining is so I can wrap up my home improvement loan and put everything together. But now the value and stuff is increased. So you can, again, you got to ask these questions and find out in the time of the close what's really their holdup. Where these, financing objections may be coming from. So we talked about the interest rate that they might come. Again, I got different plans I can put them in. Some people are like, look, man, I got no money right now. I can't afford anything a month. I'm going to pay for this with next year's taxes. What plan do you put them in?
12-month deferment.
Same as cash.
Okay.
Repeat that again. Just a sec.
So I'm paying with next year's taxes.
Okay.
So I can't afford anything more, no obligations for a month. I can't put it on any type of payment. But as soon as I got my cash come April of next year, I'm calling you up and we're going to do this.
You said in a year.
Hmm?
You said in a year.
Next
Next
year's
year.
taxes, April. What plan are you putting in? I'm asking you, what number?
18 months.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say.
Which one? We got a bunch of
I was
18
gonna say either the 2012 or 20.
Zero interest, no monthly payment, same as cash, 18 months. I'm just guessing.
So it's gotta be a no payment option, right? Cause they can't afford anything a month.
The clip is less than the 12 months, but yeah. Realistically, I mean, like.
How many months do you need?
April, like 7, 6.
Count them up.
Oh, there's a 6-month one, okay.
So we're in August already. So you got August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So you got 8 months.
12 months.
And that's if you're waiting, until April to do your taxes.
Yeah.
Anybody do them earlier?
A lot of people.
When do you normally do it?
I don't know when the opening is, but I haven't done my taxes.
Well, no, that's just what you ask the fucking customer, right? You normally wait till the last minute to file and everything. When people are getting a return, usually they're on top of it. If you're paying taxes, they're getting an extension.
I actually did the option, the exception.
So they might tell you January. So do I really need to extend it out 8 or 12 months then? Can I get away with 6? Remember, this 6 months doesn't start until the completion of the job.
Okay.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you could even do the 3. Honestly.
So depending.
Yeah.
You know, well, I don't know. That's kind of cutting it close. You're getting something like that. Okay, you know that in 12 months you're going to have everything taken care of, right? Hello? Yep.
What's the dealer fee, the interest that they pay if they don't?
Well, I guess the whole thing
No,
was
that's what we
he was just trying
Why
to
do
find
they
out
have to
like,
see
what's
it?
wrong.
By law, we have to show it to them?
No.
We don't show this sheet at all.
Oh, you don't?
No.
This is our reference sheet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, why would?
Because that's the last thing we want them to know is that we have to pay.
Okay.
Yeah, when we had that Wells Fargo meeting Monday.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
She didn't want us to show.
Oh yeah,
them.
she was like,
all
straight
right.
up, do not show the customer because yours is specific to your company.
What's that?
Other companies don't get this special privilege.
And they say we're not even supposed to talk about this with other companies.
Hello?
We have a special rate.
Sure.
What's that?
Sure we do. Well, we probably do compared to some companies,
Well, I
but
guess-
No, that's what she said.
Like,
She's like,
yeah, she said
some
Levi
people
paid a big money.
up front,
Yeah. to get it.
Hello?
what is it? This is, I just have a service finance right here.
It's just, it's on the, it's
Oh,
the top
no
one
problem.
here. It's a $8.99 APR, 1.85, but it's a 1% hit for us.
Wow, it's not bad.
Actually,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Matt's done business with
Mikey
him
came
for
in
years,
yesterday
and then
said that,
I've taken my cars in
that
there a couple
1%
different
clip is
times,
actually
and
technically
we usually
rebated
take
to
like
us,
all of
so it's
our,
zero for
our
us for that
fleet
plan.
Wait,
vehicles.
what?
You
There
know,
is
get
no
our oil
on this
changes
plan.
and
He
shit over
basically said
there. I
that
mean, if
it's
you
like
can go a
almost
guy
like
around, that's
rebated
up to you
us.
too, but.
Like, yeah, we paid
You
the
know.
clip, but basically get it back.
What's their payment if they don't pay it
Yeah,
off in a
yeah,
year,
he's
you know?
good about it. You know, and again, we send him everything from rock solid, so.
You
he
know,
takes
cause I
care of
did
us
that
for
with David's
which one.
Bridal, I had 0 payments for a year and then I didn't pay it off and it went up to like 20, 25, yeah, something
You
crazy.
never wanna do zero
Okay,
interest.
and then let me know on the 3, I mean, if you can get a
Yeah, as
vehicle
long as
to
you're gonna pay it
run it,
off.
let me know, or I can throw a new guy with you or
So,
something
this
like
one-
that.
This one
and
says no
to
interest
run it
if
or-
paid in full with regular monthly payments. If it's not paid.
Just keep me in the loop, we got some time to figure it out, so.
Oh, it doesn't even say.
Yeah,
Have a-
cause they're gonna wanna know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so at that point, you
I'll get
you
your
wanna do
number in
something with
1
no
minute.
payments, no interest. You know, if they're him and Han, like that person who said, well, I'm temporarily laid off. Okay, and I can't, you know, I don't wanna commit to anything, I can't afford a payment if I don't have a job and everything else. You know, I'll come back and say, well,
Go
you
with
know, how
5.
long do you think it's gonna take before you get a job?
2 months.
2 months? You think 2 months you'll have a job? Well, you know, I'm not quite sure. The market's everything up in the air. I mean, you think by 6 months you'd have a job? You know, now I'm kind of throwing it on him, bumping it up, and then the wife will kick in and go, fuck yeah, you better have a job in 6 months. If not, I'm going to beat his ass, right? And okay, so 6 months. You're figuring you could probably do it in 3, right? But 6 months, you'll definitely have a job then.
For sure secured, you're in it for a while.
You know, so now I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to drill him out and make sure he commits 100%. So you're thinking about a couple months, you'll probably be back on your feet and have a job. Yeah, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Okay, I don't want that maybe. Well, 6 months for sure you would have a job. Well, I would hope so. Definitely a year. Well, yeah, a year. I better fucking have a job. If not, I'm losing my house. Well, right. At that point, you don't have to worry about a loan, right? If you're losing your house, fucking just roll it all together. You're going bankrupt anyways, right? And joke with them because it's the truth, right? But right now, you still have a job or you still got good credit. It's the only time we can get you approved for this shit. So why don't we put it on a year then? We'll defer the payments, defer the interest, and you'll be back on your feet at a job from them. And at that point, if you can't have it paid off in that year or whatever, you're still back on your feet. You got money coming in, then you can just kind of refi it or just get another loan to pay that one off. Okay,
question for
but I'm
you.
getting them a solid fucking commitment from them first before I put them in that plan.
So like, let's say we do get them in a plan, they're all for it, no credit union, no bullshit. They obviously, even if they have no monthly payments, no interest for that term, they can decide to make any payment they want, right?
They
But where
could.
do they make that payment?
Where?
Yeah, is it an online thing? Is it?
Yeah, they still have an account.
Yeah. Well, what'll happen? They'll still get a monthly statement that comes in,
Okay.
and it'll start having like the interest accumulating on it.
Okay.
But if it's paid off in full
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that promotionary period, none of that interest is going to hit.
So we can
But-
tell them, you don't have to make a payment for a year, but it's obviously encouraged.
Well, I mean, unless it's something where they're just going to use their tax money and just pay it off.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
they don't have to make that payment, but they can to knock it down early. That's fine
Yeah,
too.
just make it a little cheaper.
But why wouldn't you keep your money all in your bank account earning interest for you for that year
True.
instead of paying it out slowly?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm done and I want to have it handled. Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
But-
talk about questions.
You know, you
Like,
can
oh,
keep
I
it-
can make a payment though,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Sure can. So these are the different plans. These are the options. You can see you can go anywhere from 9.99 down to 2.99. You can lengthen the term. The payment factors are on the right-hand side. Okay, you notice if we go down to the 4132, that has a payment factor of 1.32%. That's $132 for every 10 grand spent. Okay, people love that. Sometimes I'll go through it and I'll talk just some of my friends and shit like that or whatever, and they're like, well, how much is a kitchen or how much is the siding going to be on my house or whatever? And I just say, hey, for every $10,000 you spend, your payment's $132. Because they're like, well, can I do this? Should I do this project too? And then should I do the roofing with the siding and then the windows all at once, or is it better to split them up? And I say, hey, for every 10 grand you spend, it's $132 a month. So now they kind of consider it going, well, shit, if I spent 30 grand, it's $390.
$130. Yeah.
It's like, right, now it's $390 as a car payment, I can get everything back. Yeah, let's talk about everything then. Now I know at that point I got a little bit more leeway on it. So, but you can see here, I can get the payment factor down to as low as fucking
0.82.
0.82.
0.71.
Yeah, there you go, 0.71. That's a
Clip.
fucking 20-year plan right there.
17% clip.
I can't afford your payment. That's too high. What kind of payment can you afford without taking food off the table? I like yours, without taking beer out of the fridge or food off your table. Okay? Mention it's just joking around again. I like that line. But it's a price objection. I can't afford that. Like I did with my car when I bought my Mustang. I looked at it and I was like, fuck, I can't afford that. I needed to be under $500. Okay? I gave him that information, but you asked the customer that. You can't afford the payment? Well, just out of curiosity, what kind of payment could you afford without taking food off the table? And it's funny because they'll give you that monthly payment a lot quicker than they will $8 grand. How much did you think the project was going to go? They're prepared for that one. When you ask them about their monthly payment, and that's the whole thing. I'm not dropping from 10 grand now to 8 grand to get their payment lower. I'm still keeping it at 10 grand, but I'm putting them. Yeah, I'm taking a little bit of a clip, but the clip I'm taking is going to be less than me discounting the job completely. So that's why it's so important to find out what their true objection is first before you start drop.
I was like, say, how often am I? 5, 10, 15, $20? Then they'll tell me.
No more like 100. Well, at least you got it.
So you told me 100. So you're saying that you could do the job right now between 75 to $100 right now? Yeah. You feel comfortable with that? No food on the table. No food off the table. Beer on the fridge. Yep. Okay. Okay. And then when they're like, oh, I need to think about it. Payment still fits, right? I'm still comfortable with that.
And you do that up front before you start discounting. That's the big thing. Isolate it.
Yeah.
Get a commitment to it.
If it's a 17% clip, shit, you're already at par just at retail. Almost.
But you also too, you got to be careful. Still make that call. Okay. And the reason I would say still make that call because the customer might look, well, if you knew you had that plan available, why didn't you offer it to me before? Right. And by extending it out or whatever, I'll make that call and say, Dave, man, I'm looking at this sheet and it looks like that we had this promo last month that was going on. Is there any way that we can still use that, or is that completely done? Which plan are you talking about? Blah, 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 blah. Let me find out. Let me call Phil. Let me do whatever. I'll give you some bullshit and say, look, technically, no, we're not really pushing that plan. So they kind of brought it up, but I just got a text message from Phil. He said, yeah, it's no problem. We can still get you in. But it's not something typically we would be running anymore.
So I did notice for like that's 0.71 payment factor, the maximum loan amount's 40. Is that just because the clip's so high?
I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's because of the clip that's so high,
Because it looks like all
or
the
it's
high
because it's
clip
a
ones.
fucking 20-year plan.
Right. It seems like all the high clip ones are like
Imagine,
kind of maxed out at about 40. There's only actually 2 of them that are maxed out at 40. One's 21%, one's 17%.
Where do you see that at?
Not too far right.
I
Oh,
see-
yours all say 100.
Yeah, This supposed to be old.
Yeah, these ones, yeah, there's only two plans, one's maxed
Hold
out
on,
at
let me
40.
see yours, maybe you got the new one.
This one's all says 100,000. I don't think that's right.
That one might be new then.
I just found it over there. It looks pretty old.
Yeah, cause these two.
This is 2020 pricing, the one we have is 19 pricing.
Huh.
So you had the right one. Yeah, because those clips dropped.
Did they? Oh,
Some of them
shit.
did.
I just found
Yeah,
it somewhere.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to up,
What
because
was
this is with the new
Yeah, I
Wells
know,
Fargo,
I
so-
see that. The 4071, that's a 17% clip on hers is only 15.
Huh.
And the 2.99%, the top one on there is
Just
only
call me and I'll
19.
give you my pricing.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, no shit. Okay.
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question.
Good, yeah, hell yeah, good catch. All right, down at the bottom too, you got the bottom, the buy deepers. What do you got the maximum loan amount on those at? 15?
10.
That's 10? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we got too. So the buy deeper loans. So they run a couple different programs. So service finance, the normal initial application and loans that go through, that's through their service finance. Then they also have what they call a buy deeper program where it's a little shaky. Their credit's either shaky, their debt to income's a little shaky. We couldn't push or bump anything through and we're just happy we get them bought. So they'll come back with a counter offer and it'll come in this buy deeper form. You can see we get almost a 10% hit on it from a dealer fee, but there's more risk involved in it. And then they have the two options on it. It's 6 month with payment, deferred interest. That's what the WPDI stands for. With payment, deferred interest. You can see the low FICO score. Okay. And then you have the buy deeper plan at 16.99%. So that's what that plan basically
These
consists
are
of.
like window jobs and things like that. If it was just $10,000 max, yeah.
Well, yeah. So they'd have to come up with the difference on it or something. There's got to be a small job. That's the problem is it has a very low maximum loan amount.
Because it's such a big risk.
I would rather take them to Synchrony then instead. Personally.
Well, yeah, but Synchrony is mostly off the credit score. If the credit score is that shitty, then Synchrony is just straight.
Really?
Yeah.
For you guys?
Yeah, but we'll still try it. But then they also have another program, a second look program that they just came up with. Okay, that one I don't remember the exact terms. I think it's an automatic approval of like they come back and they'll say, all right, we got you approved through our second look provider, and they give you like two different options that the customer can choose from. It's still through service finance. It's still through the app and everything else. They call it something else on it, but the customer will still sign it the same way. But there's two options that they'll come out with, and then usually it's like 4.99 or 14.99%. The interest rate is a little bit higher, and then they put it down to like 72 months. You know, but they do approve it for the full amount. It's not a terrible loan. They know that their credit is pretty shitty. Usually people know that their credit's a little wary and stuff on it. So we have that program as well. That's all through Synchrony. If those two fail, or three different things actually fail, we're gonna have you guys get a hard credit app filled out. Okay, so we can take it to our different lenders and stuff. We have another lender called Hunter Finance. All right, they buy all of the bullshit. I shouldn't say all of it. They buy most of the bullshit. Okay. At this time, the people already know their credit is fucking shit. The problem is we start with a 15% dealer fee. Right from the rip. They're taking 15% because of the risk and stuff that's involved in it. Okay? Sometimes I can negotiate that down a little bit. Get it down to 10 or 12%. But it starts at 15. Sometimes we'll get an approval of 20 to 30%. Doesn't happen often. Okay, but you gotta think, we gotta have money in the job to run those. All right. So on your builder's package, that's why on your builder's package, when you're pricing it out, we've already have that gutted. Okay. When you're sitting there showing the monthly payments, just show the low payment option because we don't have any clip. Don't even put a price on there for the 18 months because we can't absorb another 5.5% if they decided to go with it. And they may ask you and say, hey, you know, well, what can I get the 18 months on that? Absolutely not. It's not available with that plan. Again, that plan is set up and priced out the way just to keep the prices the lowest we possibly can. I can't give you 18 months on that.
If we were to secure it at the basic plan.
Mhm.
I thought we don't do that.
What's that?
I thought we don't bring it down all the way back. Like to kind of.
I can do regular financing on that, is what I'm saying.
Oh, if we had to.
Yes, it's either the economy pricing is either cash or it's your 4132 plan where we don't take a clip.
Gotcha.
Okay, no other plan is available on it. If it's a builder's package that you end up selling, there's no chance of going through Hunter. We can't absorb 15% on that. If it's declined through those service finance, everything else is a dead deal, we're done. Okay? But, you know, and then they have some different hoops and stuff you gotta jump through Hunter and things. Make sure if it's declined, all right, that you take a picture of their driver's license, front and back, so we have that with the credit app coming through, because we're gonna need that regardless, with these other lenders, so make sure you have that. If you're on the phone, so what you'll end up doing is, we'll walk through a scenario. Pull up the app on your phone right now, actually,
Do it on my tablet.
or your tablet.
Is it Service Finance app? You have your own app? Okay.
I forgot what the password was. Did we make our own?
Yeah, we made our own. I'm all good.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, so what you're gonna click is you're gonna click New App.
Okay.
And then it's gonna ask you, what are the two options?
Proposal tool or new application?
Okay, so the proposal tool, like you were asking about that 18 months, what the payment was on it, and I just doubled it. If you wanted, if the customer wants a specific exact number, you can go to proposal tool, you can put in the loan amount, you can put in what plan, and it'll come out with a couple different options
The
for you.
plan number, right?
Yep, and then you
Nice.
can, so you can give them the exact stuff. So in the event you can't figure out what your payment is on any of these, go to the proposal tool, you can type it in, and you can pick all your shit, and it'll give you all your plans and everything else. And I think you can pick a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
And then it'll kind of break it down and show, like, your good, better, best type of thing, with the payment options. and
Okay,
shit.
so there's like a proposal comparison or payment calculator. It's payment calculator.
You could do. I'm on
Either or,
proposal.
the payment calculator, or you can do the proposal
Oh, the
tool.
comparison,
Proposal tool is
okay.
gonna have the comparison,
Full
yeah.
sounds. I could do.
Oh, wow, okay. You can pick up to 3 different options.
Can I see?
It has the exact code and everything.
This is the proposal tool, not the calculator. So like if I,
It's a little
Put
bit
any
bigger
plan in
screen.
there and you put what the loan amount is and it comes up with what the payment will
I
be.
have a lot bigger screen if you want to take a look.
It's okay, I just want to have an idea what it looks like.
Yeah.
amount, so you just basically put the total amount, obviously, right?
Yeah, the loan amount.
I'm just gonna-
Average shop's 15,000. Go with that.
Oh, cool, yeah, and it comes up with every single
Oh,
code.
sweet.
Alright, so you got those, you can play around with those when you're with the customer, familiarize yourself a little bit more with them. Go back a step though, you have your proposal tool, and then what was the other option?
It was
The
new
payment
application.
calculator. Oh,
Oh, yeah, proposal
New-
tool, new application.
New application, so click New App,
Okay, scan driver's license.
go into New App and stuff, back out of that for a minute, okay. Yeah.
Scan driver's license.
Alright, scan driver's license, so get your license out.
I don't got one.
That's right.
you don't have a license?
Oh, long story.
Okay.
I went to
Really not
SOS, took 3 months I waited, never came in the mail. So I just went last Monday, or this Monday.
But you have one, you just don't have a physical one.
Hey, what's your credit at? Oh, so it's sideways.
Gotta remember my social. No, it's the back of it, scan the back.
That was fast.
Okay, now it asks you, was that the address that's on there? So, you need to verify that that's on the front, it's not something that they just moved, you can go ahead and click yes.
Oh, that's pretty.
Now, most of the app is completely self-populated now, with all of my personal information, my credit card, or not my credit card number, my driver's license number, my expiration, my birth date's in there, okay, it has my address and everything else on there, so you wanna verify it, make sure. And then just there's only a couple key things that you gotta put in there, the product, the amount type, it's gonna ask you what the social security is. When you start typing that stuff in, it'll actually block it out. If you go to social security and start typing in a couple numbers, you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you can physically hand your phone over to your customer and say, enter in your social. So therefore, if they're wishy-washy and they don't want you to see it, they'll see that it gets blocked off and then they'll hand back the phone back. So it's not like they're giving you the social security number or any of that shit.
Is there any way to do this over the phone?
It actually does have an option. It says call in application.
No, I'm saying for me, like for
Oh.
pitch and misses, if they don't do financing and I decide that I can do this, how would I do this if I don't have their license in front of me or anything?
That's where I will have them take a picture of their license, the front and back, and
Okay,
send it over to me.
and then you scan it from there?
Mhm.
Okay.
And then you can get the rest of their information over the phone, their social security number and shit like that.
How do you get their permission to run their credit? Just verbal? It's acceptable?
Yeah, usually you need a contract. And I'm kind of glad you brought that up. Legally, guys, we can't run their credit unless we have a binding contract with them. Okay? So, what I don't want you to do is say, okay, I want to get you pre-approved and everything, and then run their financing, and then them go, it turns out that they're declined, for instance. Or I've even had them when they were approved, and they're like, okay, well, now that I know I'm approved, I'll call you next week and let you know. And you're like, well, what the fuck? So tell them legally, I can't do anything until you sign the contract. So what I'll usually do is I'll have part of the contract written up. I'll go through my credit app, and then as I click submit, I'll pull out the contract and continue to fill out the contract. I'll review the contract with them. Once the contract is done and reviewed and signed, then I'll go back to my phone and check the status of their approval. I usually will have the approval already, but I'll just leave it there because I want to make sure that contract's signed. Because in the event that they're declined, now you say, oh, well, let's fill out the contract. I'll have you fill out a generic credit app and we'll run it through a couple different lenders. Sometimes they're just like, you know what, if I wasn't approved, you know what, forget it. And now I don't even have a contract. At least if I had a contract and it was declined, and now all of a sudden their credit situation changes, they get a bonus at work or whatever, they're a little bit more obligated to call you back because you already have something on file.
That's
than
where
start
we get
whole
the
process.
sold, the finance turndowns?
What's that?
That's how we get the sold finance turndowns?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or we get a decline and we bring it back in and we run it through Hunter and we still couldn't. Now it gets transferred over to Soul
So
Finance.
you already get a yes for the job first,
Mhm.
before you even
Now
try
we just
this.
gotta find the money,
Right.
find the dough.
Right. So technically we can't have that unless we have a contract with it.
Good to know.
So make sure. If they're declining the house, okay, you're gonna call Phil. Phil! Let's get you Phil's number. I either call him, it's actually, if you need specific stuff, give him a call. What I usually do
800
is if
number.
it's declined, I will I'll take a screenshot of the application that's in there. Because it has the loan number and everything, it'll say declined, I'll take a screenshot of it, and I'll text it over. Say, hey, can you look into this for me? And he'll pull it up and use the loan number to look at it, and he'll see what he can do on it. Phil? A lot of times he can push things through. He can add extra money to their income. He can check through a different bureau, okay?
Is that 1252?
Yes, I'm sorry. So a lot of times he can work his magic. If you get it where he comes back with a buy deeper program, with that counter offer, sometimes he can look at it, he can tweak it, and he can bump it back up into the standard plan. So if you have anything but an approval, take the picture, send it to him. Don't tell your customer, oh, I'm having some difficulties or anything like that. See what he can do first. If you need to talk to him or whatever, step outside, call him up and say, hey man, what's going on? Sometimes he'll say, dude, just fucking pack up your shit. They can't finance it, pack it up. Get the fuck out of there. Okay? Still get the hard app and stuff like that. When you come back in and you hear that news from Phil or whatever, it sucks. But we still want to get the hard app because we still may be able to go through Hunter or whatever the case is. Come back and just say, hey, right now I don't know what's going on. The system's down. So I got your application that's been processing in there, but it's not completing through. So do me a favor, fill out this hard app. So therefore, if something comes back or whatever, I might have to manually put it in when I get back into the office or whatever. At least I'll have it, the application, so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, don't tell them straight out, hey, you declined, you didn't have it. Sometimes Phil will come back and say you'll have a cosigner. If they give me a cosigner, I should be able to do something on it. You don't want to, jump right out and say that they were declined. But at that point, just say, hey, as I'm filling you out here, did you guys, possibly have a cosigner that maybe you can throw onto or whatever? He just asked me to ask you about it, and start having you think about that just in case.
So
Oh, yeah, I can.
after you ran the one person.
Right.
So when you
Because it might have come back declined, and then Phil's like, hey, can you get me a cosigner? I noticed, Mr. Jones, you were the only one on the credit app. Is it possible to get a cosigner or whatever to maybe make this a little easier? And the wife, no, my credit is shitty. Is there anybody else that might be able to? Well, I could probably get my sister.
So
Now you
Phil
can
is with service finance, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
he's a
and what's the
service
deal with
finance.
Wells Fargo? They can't run
He's a
both?
shit bowler too.
both of them can,
So we can't run, if we're running service finance, we can't run Wells Fargo.
and vice versa.
Right. If we run Wells Fargo, we can't run service finance.
So what are they supposed to do?
You decline.
No, I mean, which way did they go?
If it's a multi-trade
Oh, you told me
Job.
this, I think, okay.
roofing and siding, we want to go through Wells Fargo because Wells Fargo allows us to cash out the roofing job and then wait for the siding.
That's
for 3
right,
months. Okay, service finance doesn't allow us to do that. So if it's just a roof, just siding,
One
whatever,
product, go through service.
mhm,
Okay.
you can still go through service or check the plan, because there's the same type of dealer fees and stuff on the Wells Fargo. So look at it, and if you're going to give them like those interest-free options, Nate was looking at it the other day, and he said that some of these interest-free options, the
No interest.
dealer fees or discounts are less on Wells Fargo than it is through service.
Yeah.
So figure out which one you got.
How does that affect their commission?
They, again, if it's a $10,000 job and they're only gonna pay us $9,400, they're rating up the job at $9,400.
Gotcha.
That's kinda how we look at it
Okay.
when the commission.
Now, when you do the cosigner aspect, does the original person get hit again?
No.
Okay, I think we went through that, I just wanna verify.
Yeah.
But
Use-
sometimes it's
use
better
filter.
just to do the one person alone, like if you got declined and he's your co-signer, just run him. Or, like, let's say if I
They-
run you, you decline, and then I run him alone and he declines, can I run you both together?
That's not gonna help.
Okay.
If you're both declined.
Yeah, I think, okay.
Yeah, if you're both declined.
When I bought my house, my husband had $80,000 in school debt, so they actually took him off. You would think two income would be better, but because his debt to income ratio is so bad, that's why the mortgage is still in my name to this day. So
I got
that's funny. It works weird.
It is, and that's, your customers are in that situation, that's where Phil can look at it and go, I'm gonna take your husband off of it
Yep.
to get approved, so that's why I'm saying, call Phil up.
Your husband's fucking.
He's, yeah, and so, I mean, that's.
Or he's
usually-
not.
Phil, yeah, he's not. But that's, make sure you're using Phil, you're calling him up on those jobs. He's great, he'll work with you guys on it, you got questions. They also have an 800 number, I always try Phil first, Phil can usually work his
What is
magic
that
more than
800
there. It's in the app,
It's right on
Oh,
there. Yeah.
alright.
or is that your?
Yeah,
your sheet?
877.
Gotcha, okay. That makes it easy.
But-
I heard
Service
they call him.
finance?
They answer all the time, but Phil's our rep, so you want to call him. He's the one that's going to help push it through.
Yeah, I bust him up all the time on it. Come on, man.
Do we have a person for Wells like that?
That was
yeah,
the Lisa.
her name's
girl,
Tina.
Or Tina.
I have
Tina.
her number written
We
down.
were on a
Ryan,
conference
Tina,
call.
Lisa.
Actually, we got two people for Wells Fargo. Three, actually, because the 800 number.
Yeah, they gave us.
Well, Dave can't speak for him yet because he hasn't worked with them enough yet. So
Yeah, although Tina seems she's pretty
She's
cool. I've been on
super,
a couple calls with her. All right, so you're in the app. The other things that they're going to ask for is like the mortgage or the rental payment, what their income is, what they or where they work, and then it's cool too because now they got on there. If you're adding a co-applicant, you can hit add applicant and then
Yeah.
scan their license in there too,
Yeah.
Right at the bottom.
which is nice. That's about it when it comes to that aspect. Now, if it comes up and you scan it and it asks you the address, but the address doesn't match up what's on the front of the thing, and you say, well, is this the address you're performing the work, and you click no, it'll just back you out of the app. It won't take everything else but the address. Okay, so what I will typically do is I'll say yes, this is the address, and then when I get into the application, I'll just edit the address and put the right one in there, but I still got all of their information that's in there. Otherwise, you gotta manually take off the driver's license, type in the driver's license number, what's the expiration date on it, what is their birth date, their name and spelling of their name. Just say, yes, that's the address, and go back and change the address. It's a lot quicker, it's just kind of a workaround for it.
where's
Okay.
the hard application? Do they have them, or is that?
I got some back there, and we also have them on
I
tabs,
got it.
which I'm gonna get into too, that's our
Perfect.
online show. All right. Is real quick, Amanda, is anybody near the Romulus? I'll send these guys, but I know that we only had that 111, but I'm.
Brian is in
anybody-
Southfield, and then Brian's in Detroit. I don't know what part of Detroit he's at. Oh yeah, I forgot that's an 11.
Southfield or Ryan or? Detroit pretty close.
Huh?
Southfield and Detroit pretty close. They're only 30 minutes away from Romulus.
That's
Or an
not.
hour.
Randy's still in it, or we'll just have these guys run out.
I noticed you didn't change that one. Do you want me to change it now or
What?
the 3D?
I don't change it. I clone it.
Okay.
So
So I don't have to
he
do
put, they did a 3D, he put it in as a 3D rendering complete, but I guess they wanted to reset it, so I told him next time put it in as a reset.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because.
So I just left it and
Well,
I,
no, did you reset the appointment though?
Yeah.
Over.
Monday night.
Oh, that was this Monday. Okay, yeah. Normally you put Monday.
and I put in the notes, to move it to either 11:30 or Tuesday at 9.
So no matter what, if it's a reset, we've already done our measurements. We just put reset.
Yes.
Or I said, or
Put in the notes.
call me
Wow.
up. Yeah,
I got my measurements. I'm coming back out.
because I won't go through every lead, so I would never known unless we were talking about it. you
No,
know?
honestly, that's why I came early because I had a lot of questions about yesterday. So
All right, Ryan's still in his lead. Brian is still in his lead. So, all right, I'm gonna send you guys. It's a referral. Don't fuck it up.
I'm gonna fuck it up.
All right, I'm gonna send you.
I just learned to kind of keep my mouth shut.
employee pricing, gotcha.
That went so the PM went so much smoother when I didn't talk about all the problems that they had.
What are you talking about? The what?
Yeah, we
I
had
pissed people off.
I told them I was like, let's lay off on this. Let's not
Every
drill.
lead I've had,
Let's not drill
someone
right
either has
off
called
the
me a
bat.
liar that the roof is not as fucked up as I say it is, which it is,
Twice now.
or B, I'm just trying to steal their money, which I am. I mean, the goal of it is to put their money in their pocket and my pocket.
Maybe you should soften up a little bit.
That's what
That's what he started
That's what I am. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we decided.
Not everybody's receptive. Some people like that guidance a little bit.
Well, like I was saying, Erie, pre-qualified.
Current roof
If
is
they had a
price.
640 credit score,
3 sky.
we would not do that. Like they were.
640 is not even that bad.
Well, that's the thing. It's 650 up.
Yeah.
They were already
We did his
pre-qualified.
roof in
They did a
2019.
softball. They did everything. I had all their information right away.
Yeah.
I could see they actually took photos of their house. They sent it to the marketing team. I saw it. I could look up on Zillow how it compares, what the damage was. They knew this shit was fucked up because they had to take photos of all the fuck up. So
Alright, we gotta go. If we're gonna go to this, we gotta go now.
what?
We're gonna be a half hour late already.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Says the one that just says, I hate showing up late.
it's okay.
It's not okay, guys.
Not my time. Watch, we're gonna get there and I'm gonna be there.
53.
What?
Don't fucking say that.
Watch.
Is that your charger or mine?
It's mine.
Oh, okay. I thought
This is actually my wife's and she gets pissed off with it.
that's for her MacBook, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
She gets pissed off.
I have 2 MacBook Pros.
I need one more question.
I'm so cool.
Is it for the roof or siding?
Roof. 27 years old, 3 skylights.
What? 27-year-old roof?
That's a good set.
Approximately.
Perfect.
Don't forget to click the skylight button on the hover when you're, pricing. And then we'll have the options.
Alright.
You want a generic credit app to take with you?
No.
Do you have one?
Nope.
Then you take one.
Yeah.
The fuck do you know?
You're gonna get
Dave just said get the hard copy.
they have a perfect 700 credit score.
Alright, you're just pulling shit out of your ass now.
I've already looked them up.
Listen,
You know what? Hey.
Listen, you
Mr.
guys gotta
Cole-
stay consistent. Whatever you do it every time. Don't skip the survey on this one. Don't skip the financing on this one. Don't skip the drop call on that one. I know you guys aren't, but for some reason these veterans decide
I got a
every.
compliment answer. He said I'm the only one doing the process.
No, I know. He told me that today too. I'm just saying, I'm reminding you. Because if you don't get reminders, people forget.
Windows survey, roof